What's going on, Alabama fans? Chris Daughtry here with the Alabama Football Report by Chat Sports. Ryan Grubb, Alabama's new offensive coordinator, got an opportunity for the first time now to speak to the Crimson Tide media. Talked a little bit about Keelon Russell, and he got excited when he talked about Keelon Russell. So we're going to go through some of those quotes on today's video, both with Keelon Russell, Ty Simpson, Austin Mack as well, and also a 5-star tight end is going to be visiting Alabama today, unofficially for the next 2 days. So we'll talk about that on today's video. Definitely a name that we're going to have to monitor here in this 2026 recruiting cycle. So let me know. We are 2 days in now to Alabama spring practice. I guess technically 3 days. We're 2 practices in now. But, man, I don't know about you guys, but I am getting very, very excited. So if you guys can feel the excitement now for Alabama spring practice, go ahead and type me in the comments section for me right now. All right, first up on today's show, we're going to be talking Keelon Russell hype. I know I've been talking about Ty Simpson, Austin Mack a lot, but man, Keelon Russell is definitely a guy coming in now to Alabama that I don't necessarily think he's going to start this year. I think it's either going to be between Ty or Austin Mack. But, man, Keelon Russell really coming in the first couple days of practice now, really lighting it up and really impressing some of these Alabama coaches, including Ryan Grubb. And when he was asked about Keelon Russell yesterday from the Alabama media, it sounded a whole lot different than when he was asked about A.K. Deer and Michael Carroll. There was kind of this light in his eye, and he gave more of an in-depth answer. This is what he had to say about A.K. Deer and Michael Carroll when he was asked about both of those guys respectively. For A.K. Deer, he said, A.K., he's still learning. That's about it. Didn't go into any more detail about A.K. Deer. When he talked about Michael Carroll, he said he's got a long ways to go. He's a great kid. Now, he went into a little bit more depth, but it was really more of, he felt bad about not really giving a good answer about either one of those guys, so he gave a very just general coach speak answer for those guys. But when he talked about Keelon Russell, this is what he said, and there was definitely a different tone in his voice when he was talking about Keelon Russell. He said, Keelon is awesome, man. He's very unflappable. Even when things don't go right, and they invariably will for a freshman quarterback, I think he's done an awesome job just kind of staying the course and being very steady, and he can make a lot of plays. One thing that I noticed, this was about, how Keelon Russell, compares to some of those other young quarterbacks that Ryan Grubb has worked with in the past. He said the one thing that I noticed, thinking back to Jake Haener, back to Fresno State, he's with the Saints now. Jake's got a really whippy, quick release, something that we've definitely seen from Keelon Russell in some of these practice videos that we've gotten so far from the media and from Alabama athletic department as well. He said once he's made his decision, he was very decisive with the football. You see that a lot with Keelon Russell. And then with Keelon's vision, really reminds me of Michael Penix Jr. a little bit. He has good wide vision with the field. He can see it even when he doesn't know exactly what's going on. So he still is working through all the processes, but he'll get there. He's a good player. And that's, definitely, a change from how he was talking about both A.K. Deer and Michael Carroll. Going into this year, I'll continue to say it. I think, it's probably going to be between Ty or Austin Mack, but man, Keelon Russell in the years to come, this kid is going to be special, and I cannot wait to see what he can do in a Crimson Tide uniform. So let me know here at the pinned comment of today's video, what year do you guys think Keelon Russell will be the starter for Alabama? Because it's going to happen eventually, right? Unless he hits the transfer portal at some point. So let me know what you guys think. Type F if you think he steps in and becomes the starting quarterback here this first season as a freshman. Type S if you think he'll get it done in his sophomore season, probably between him and Austin Mack there. Or type J if you think he's going to have to wait a few years. Ty Simpson's got to be out of the program. Austin Mack probably going to have to move on. And then by that time that junior season rolls around, Keelon Russell will be the quarterback in his junior season. Let me know what you guys think at the pinned comment of today's video. That ad's going to come here on YouTube. That is totally fine. You guys can ignore it. Get down there and let me know what you guys think. Now, Ryan Grubb also went into some of the other quarterbacks here. This is what he had to say about Ty Simpson, which I think some of this is very notable as well. He said, Ty's done a good job. I thought he had the biggest jump from day 1 to day 2, just as far as being able to take in all the information, process quickly, and move on. 2 things jump out to me there. One, he made the biggest improvement from day one to day two. Obviously, there's a lot of time to go. Progression is not a linear line. Sometimes you go up and then you go back and then you go forward 2 more steps and then back 1 and then up 3. So that's one thing that really stood out to me. Also, processing quickly is something that Alabama needs in that quarterback position that isn't necessarily something that they've had the last couple of years with Jalen Milroe back there at that quarterback spot. He continued. He was asked again about Ty Simpson. This is what he had to say. He said, Ty, like I said, I think he's really improving. One thing I like and appreciate about Ty already is that you can tell he is very serious about wanting to succeed. He's had the mindset that he's been ready, just kind of been waiting in the wings, so to speak. I think for me, it's just I know he's committed to the process. I think that's what makes great quarterbacks. As long as he understands that it's going to take a little bit, he's got to be committed to those steps, and he's going to be great. I love hearing that from Ryan Grubb. Some of these other guys, especially Austin Mack, have a little bit of a head start when it comes to that relationship with Ryan Grubb, but I think Ty Simpson coming in, being that leader, that's just a really good start for him right now. He continued on. He was asked about Austin Mack as well. I always believed in Austin. He's got really big upside. I thought he'd really done a good job working on his technique, throwing motion, things like that. I can tell he's been working hard on it the last year. He's a very bright kid, and I know that he can process the offense. Love to hear that about processing the offense. He came into the system really, really young, a 17-year-old freshman. Kind of the thought there was, when we got Austin at Washington, was that he would have 6 months with Michael Penix Jr. and kind of see how things were supposed to be done. I certainly think that he's gravitated to that, and it looks like he's matured a lot, and I'm excited to be with him. And like I said, with Austin Mack, he's got a little bit of a head start when it comes to those other quarterbacks. He's gone through at least 1 year now with Ryan Grubb as his offensive coordinator. So he really does know more than the other guys about how Ryan Grubb really likes to call the offense and some of those things that he is seeing and wants to utilize within the offense as well. So when it comes to these 3 guys, I've got faith in all 3 of these quarterbacks now for Alabama. I'll continue to say I think it's going to be Ty Simpson. I think he's got the team right now. It really does seem to be one of the main characters on this team. Team captain type vibes is what Ty Simpson really gives to me. But no matter who it is, I think all of these guys have a lot of upside to them, and I cannot wait to see how that translates to next season. And really, he said also in that press conference, really the way it shakes out, it's better to have this thing shake out sooner rather than later. But if it comes later and it's one of those other guys, that's fine too. I just want the best player to be back there, at that quarterback spot for the Crimson Tide next season. Before we continue with some recruiting news here in just a second, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Fanatics. You guys can get up to 50% off on Alabama hoodies right now just by going to chatsports.com/CFB hoodies. They've got hoodies. They've got quarter zips. They've got anything that you could think of when it comes to Alabama gear. Just go over to chatsports.com/CFB hoodies. There should also be a little clickable link right over there in the corner of your screen already. And if for some reason I forgot to do that in post-production and stuff like that, that's okay. It's also in the comment section and the description of today's video. You guys can go get Alabama swag right now just by going to chatsports.com/CFB hoodies. Going over to some recruiting stuff now. 5-star tight end Mark Bowman has now scheduled an unofficial visit with Alabama. That's going to be both today on Thursday, March 6th, and tomorrow. I think he's flying in. Alabama does practice tomorrow, so that's going to give him an opportunity to, really just be able to take in practice for the first time now, visiting the Crimson Tide. This spring, he plans on visiting multiple teams, Georgia, Texas, USC. And this is a kid that reclassified recently as well. He was in that 2027 class, now in the 2026 class. And when you see a lot of the times some of those reclassifications, a lot of the times guys go from being a 5-star to a 4-star. That did not happen in this case. So, He's a very big kid as well. I think he was, around 220-ish or 225 for that tight end spot, around 6'4" and a half-ish, 6'5". So really big body kid. I always wonder with these tight ends, with this coaching staff, how they're going to utilize them. Are they going to keep them at that tight end spot, or are they going to kind of transition them over to that wide receiver spot? So that's definitely something that, going through his recruiting process, I'm sure he's going to figure out, kind of how Kalen DeBoer and this offensive staff would really like to utilize him. Florida, Miami, Ohio State, Tennessee, Notre Dame, also some teams in the mix as well. But it really did seem like from Mater Dei High School, we know that route from Mater Dei to Tuscaloosa. There's a lot of guys now who, Mark Bowman played with in the past couple of seasons. So, he's going to have a lot of familiarity there. Definitely going to be a lot of faces that he definitely already knows. But he does also already have some official visits set up here now. He's got Texas, Georgia, USC, and Oregon already scheduled for official visits. I would assume if he likes what he sees during this unofficial visit coming up here today and tomorrow, I would assume Alabama finds their way on that official visit list sometime this summer. Make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report. We've got videos all off season long, pretty much, 6 times a week at least. We've been trying to get a 7th video out as well throughout the week. So we got a lot of content going out for you guys. Do not miss out. Make sure you hit that sub button. It's youtube.com/@RollTideTV.